Okay, let's start recording and let's rock and roll. Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Oh my gosh, it's Friday. Yay, celebrating that it's Friday. Tell me something good. If you are on Zoom, put it in the chat. If you are on Instagram Live, put it in the comments. Tell me something good today. Let's start this call off with a moment of gratitude while I get my screen all set. I have recording ready to go and I grab my notes so that I don't talk for 3 hours. Totally possible. Totally possible. If this is your first time on a live with me, let me know. I'd love to see who our first timers are. So excited. I see some regulars here, and I'm so happy to see those faces. Yay. Let's see what we have going on in the chat. Driving and listening, totally fine, totally fine. Hope so. So excited to catch you live. Yay. I'm excited you're here too. Lexi says lots more engagement on my videos, and it feels like I know who I'm talking to. Oh, the clarity friend. Holly says it's a beautiful day. It sure is, Holly. Okay, I'm celebrating all of that with you. If you're popping in after and you want to drop something that you're grateful for, please feel free to do that. Yes, I am recording this. I am aiming to do lives like this once a week. So stay tuned. If you got my email, open my email. Make sure you reply to it because that's the way that we tell the email gods that you want to read my emails because sometimes they have a life of their own. Okay, super excited to be here with you guys. Am I spotlighted for you on Zoom? Like, am I taking up? No, let me fix that. Oh, I think there's two ways to see. All right, now I am, right? Yay. Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm so excited that you're here. I will not be able to see the chat while we are talking, but I promise you that if you have questions, there will be places at the end to ask questions. And if you know me, like I love questions. So please write them down, save them as we go through. The first thing I want to make sure that you do is you have a drink. I have a coconut pineapple seltzer. This is like my favorite, favorite, favorite. And then we can start. Okay. I'm probably going to say a couple of things that will ruffle a few feathers. Hi, I'm Gwen. That's what I do. So get comfortable. Okay. And right out of the gate, I want to say this. Well, two things. One, I am live in two places. If you see me like looking up and down, it's because I want to make sure I can make eye contact with everybody who is on this live. Two, I am recording. So if you miss a part of it or you want to come back and take notes, I will let you know where the recording is going to live. Three, there was something else I was going to say, and I don't remember what it is. So we're just going to skip right over that one. Okay. Expert era is over. Everybody, round of applause. Yay! Right? Done. Finished. So if you have been standing on the sidelines of your own life, waiting until maybe you were qualified enough or had some sort of certification that you thought you needed, or felt like you were impressive enough to finally go do the thing, that wait is over. Yay, the rules changed. Yay, we don't live by the rules here. Okay, so we write our own rules. Okay, maybe nobody sent you the memo. I'm sending it to you now. So the thing about that is that for years we're kind of told and taught and shown that before you can make money doing your own thing, that you have to be an expert. You have to have credentials. You have to have a framework or a fancy title. You had to know more than everybody in the room. So a lot of you, and I've had messages back and forth with a lot of you who are here and maybe some who will come watch the replay. So I know this to be true. And also, it's me. A lot of you have waited or are waiting. Some of you years. Okay. And I know it's because you're quietly telling yourself, like, who am I to do this? I don't have anything that anyone would pay for, right? I'm not far enough along. I'm too old. Maybe it's too late for me. I missed the window, whatever it is, right? And I know that voice because I lived in it. I literally started with $2.80 in my bank account and $70,000 in debt. And that's not even counting my student loans. So if you really want to count those in, and I don't count them because I kind of pretend like they don't exist, but that would be over $200,000 in debt. That's disgusting. Okay. But that's where I started. Okay. So raise your hand if you're like, yeah, I feel you. I know what that feels like. Okay. Or I have been there. I had real debt that was literally keeping me from sleeping at night. At that point, I had no audience. I had no plan, except that I didn't want my life to look like how it was currently looking. I had no clue, no idea what I was doing. And actually, before that, my boss, I was working as a doctor of audiology in an ENT office. My boss called me up and he was like, hey, listen, don't want to pay you what we were paying you before, reducing your salary by $15,000. And coincidentally enough, I had just had a baby, and that was exactly how much it was going to cost for me to put my baby in daycare. How convenient. That was the day that I cracked. And I'm telling you this story because that was my like big realization day. But I also want you to hear me say, you don't need to have a story like that in order to have success. I got caught in that trap too. I thought like I had to have some sort of detrimental story and what was my story? And turns out I had one anyway. But you don't need that to be successful. Just want to plant that seed for you. Okay. But that was the day that I realized that I'd handed a stranger, basically, a pen to my entire life. Like, what was I doing? Because on paper, I was successful, right? Doctorate degree, good job. And I want to like insert the biggest eye roll emoji right there because what does good job even mean? I'm convinced it means that it just looks good to your parents and your grandma who wants to like squish your cheeks and be like, I'm so proud of you. You have such a good job. Meanwhile, you're like, I hate this job, right? But I digress. So I didn't start this as a qualified person. Like, yes, did I have a degree? Yeah, but my degree had literally nothing to do with what I wanted to do here online, right? So no qualifications. I was scared. I had fears. I had the same fears of like, holy shit, what am I doing with my life? How did I get here? And what the heck do I do now? Right? So let me know if that's any of those things have ever been said either in your mind, out loud, to your friends, in your head before you're trying to fall asleep at night, right? So I want you to hold on to that because it's kind of the whole point of today. Okay. So here's the game plan for what we're going to do in the next 45 minutes. I'm going to show you who people actually buy from now, and it's not the experts, yay. And I'm going to take this I'm not qualified, I'm too late, I'm too old belief part, and we're going to rip it to shreds. Okay. And I'm actually going to walk you through the exact lens to find the one thing that your life has already qualified you to sell. So hear me say you already have something that you are qualified to sell. Yay! Okay, that's huge. My promise to you today is that you are not leaving empty-handed. Okay, you will walk away with an actual idea, like in your view, pen to paper. Not someday I'll do this, but like, holy heck, I have something I can do it right now. Sound good? Virtual high five? Okay. But you've got to stick with me. Okay, because the part where it clicks for you is probably the back half of what we're going to talk about today. So don't drop off, okay? Keep the chat open, keep your pen to paper if you have a notepad. Talk to me the whole way, right? I'll come back and I'll read the chat when I can see it. And grab a pen because you're going to use it. Are we ready? Thumbs up? Good to go? Okay, let me take a drip. A drip. Let me take a drink. All right, so let's talk about why the expert era is over because it's not just like a cute slogan. It's actually a real shift that's happening in how people buy. And once you see this, you cannot unsee it. You're welcome. So let's rewind like 10 years back. Okay, back then, the person with the credential won. They got hired, they were on a pedestal, they were the ones with the letters after their name and like perfect polished package that you could hire, right? Those that's the type of person that got trusted, and that's the type of person that got sales, made money. So we all absorbed that rule in quotes because it's not real. Okay, get qualified first. Okay, then you're allowed to sell. I did that. I also tried to look like I was qualified first and also sell, and that didn't work either. Okay, so been there, done that. Here's what's happened since then in the last 10 years. And even so, like in the last couple of years, people got sold to a lot. They bought a lot of courses that overpromised. They followed gurus who disappeared. They watched experts turn out to be all this packaging and no like real substance. And somewhere in there, trust was broken. Yeah. Have you ever experienced that? with anyone. Yeah, as Kathy was like, yes. So watch where the trust went because it did not disappear. It just moved. And it moved off the pedestal and onto the person who's just one step ahead. Spoiler alert, that's you. Okay. The woman who's actually walked the path that you're on, who's honest about the messy middle. I love that term. I said that accidentally in one of the challenges that I led, and now it's just like we just talk about the messy middle all the time because everyone's in the middle of a mess. No one's perfect. We're not pretending to have it all figured out, okay? We actually don't trust flawless anymore because we know that that doesn't exist. No way. There's no way your life is perfect, right? We trust real. Thank goodness. So, I want you to think about your own behavior when you're about to buy something, okay? And everyone has a different buying, let's call it a system. Do you trust the brand that has like the perfect stock photos? Or do you, tell me if this is you, go to Amazon and before you press add to cart, you go to the very bottom of that product and you read the reviews, right? You read the reviews. And the reviews are like, okay, I'm going to tell you what nobody's told you. Oh, this was 4 stars because of this thing. Like, I really liked this, but I didn't like this, right? The real content. You trust her every single time. And here's why this is the best news that you're going to hear probably all year. It means that the very thing that you've been using to disqualify yourself, I'm not an expert, I'm not impressive, I'm just me, who's going to buy me, right? Is now the advantage. I want to say that again. The very thing that you've been using to disqualify yourself is now the advantage. I could mic drop and we could just leave it right there. Being relatable beats being impressive. Yes? Your messy middle is not the thing to hide. It's actually the thing that people are looking for. Hallelujah. So the expert era is over and the relatable era is here. And you were actually built for this. So I'm going to answer this question that's directly in the title. We've been kind of dancing around it for the past 10 minutes or so. But who do people actually buy from? They buy from the person who's been exactly where they're trying to go, right? And not that long ago, right? Like a couple years ago, a step or two ago. The one who remembers what it feels like to be stuck because she has just climbed out. People are not buying your credentials. They don't care. I paid a lot of money for the credentials behind my name. I don't even use them. Or the credentials in front of my name. Like I don't even use them because it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters, right? Let me take that back. I don't mean to say if you have a degree, it doesn't matter. That is not what I'm saying. I don't want anyone to put those words in my mouth. My degree matters, but in the realm of being able to show up and make sales on something that you're passionate about, something that you want to help people with, those credentials are not going to put you out ahead of the game. That's what I mean. Okay. So they're not buying your credentials. They're buying the proof that it's possible. Because if someone like her can do it, well, then you think maybe I can too. Yeah. And that's the if she did it, then I can feeling. And that's what makes people pull out their credit card. It's not your resume and it's not your letters before or after your name. It's just your relatability. Does that make sense so far? Yeah. Okay. I'm not just saying this. Let me give you a couple of examples so that you can like conceptualize this because that's me. I need to see like real life examples. Will that help you? Yeah. Some of the people who I'm going to use for examples are here on this call. How fun is that? Okay, so I have a student, Benjamin, and he turned I'm good at cooking and saving money in the grocery store into a paid recipe membership for people who can't cook or didn't think they could cook and are tired of making dinners that nobody liked. Oh, and they also want to save money at the grocery store. He is not a celebrity chef. He did not go to like a prestigious chef school. Okay, he worked in what's the terminology? Like what gosh, hello, Gwen, brain on. Um wow, I can see it in my head. Hospitality. There it is. He worked in hospitality. Okay, so he picked up a lot of skills working in the hospitality field. But he's not a celebrity chef. He was just showing up cooking for his family So that makes him relatable. Okay. That's Benjamin. Now, I know we've all probably seen maybe this woman, Jessie Jean, on Instagram. Okay. We, what happened with her is that she kept hearing she was good at talking on camera. So she ran a challenge teaching exactly how to talk on camera, like what was her formula. And what she ended up doing was over $1 million. Okay, she didn't have a broadcasting degree. She just had a knack and guts to go first. She was not perfect at speaking videos, and she talks about that. And also, she didn't sell something that she invented. Yapping is just talking, right? I just want you to get your mind wrapped around that for a second. She created $1 million offer off of something that we all are familiar with, know what it is, do every day, but she just happened to be a little bit better at it and a couple of steps ahead and something that people wanted to learn. Cool. Then we have my student Craig, who figured out that he was really good at helping parents coach their kids and athletes. And he turned it into a course, and then he turned that also into one-to-one coaching. So now he has two offers that he is making money off of every single week. He took his experience and his knowledge that he gained by walking through the process himself, and now he's created his own income with it. And I'll give you one more. My student Nancy is building her whole business around reinventing midlife. Okay, so this is from everything that she is living and going through right now, or even in the past couple of months. From, oh my gosh, my kids aren't home anymore, what do I do? To, here's what I'm walking through. And it's not perfect, but my goal is to be happy, and I'm happy. My goal is fulfillment, and I'm working towards fulfillment, and I'm taking you on the journey with me. That's what she's doing. Okay. Notice what none of those things are. I don't know if you guys picked up on a theme. None of them are experts, right? I actually hate the word expert. If you've been in my world, my realm, you know that I hate that word. Why? Because what's an expert? An expert would have to mean that someone would know every little single thing about one topic, and I think that's impossible. So who the heck's an expert anyway, right? Obsessed? Sure. Love, I would call myself business obsessed. I love entrepreneurship. I love teaching. I love coaching. I love showing up on social media. Obsessed, yes. Expert, no, because I can always do better or learn more. So anyway, my point is that those four examples didn't get qualified. Okay. They just looked at what they'd already lived. Pay attention. They looked at what they already lived, what people already came to them for, and then they gave it a shape that someone could buy. Okay. Which means that the person people buy from is you. It's you. The people here watching, the people watching this replay, it's you. You've already lived the thing. You've already got the experience. You've been qualified this whole time. You just couldn't see it. So let's fix that right now, shall we? Okay. This is the part where you're going to pen to paper probably and like walk away with an actual tangible thing that you could shape into something that you can buy. Sound good? Okay. Do this with me. I'm going to hand you the exact lens to spot one thing in your life that you are already qualified to sell. There'll be 3 questions, and I want you to answer them honestly. You can put them in the chat for yourself. You can put them in the chat for everyone to see. You can put pen to paper. I don't care where you put them. You can answer them in your head. Doesn't matter to me. They're not hard questions, okay? But I want you to start thinking. So here's the first one. What have you lived through, survived, or figured out the hard way? What have you lived through, survived, or figured out the hard way? I'll give you a couple of examples to kind of get your brain moving. Could be a career change, could be a health thing, could be motherhood, could be a divorce, could be getting fired, could be having your salary reduced, could be a money mess that you've gotten yourself out of, buying a house, selling a house, right? What's a skill that you've taught yourself out of necessity? Don't overthink this. What have you been through? Okay, I'm going to give you like a minute here. Take a sip. You can always come back to these questions. We don't have to finish them necessarily here. I'll give you an example. One of my mentors, Gina, she's also known as Cowboy Leisure on Instagram. She hated the weight that she had gained. I think she has 7 kids. Time, kids, sometimes we lose that focus on ourselves. So what she started to do is she started to use social media to show up for herself. It was almost like social media was her accountability buddy. Okay. And she started just sharing the journey of her walking with a weight vest on every day. That's it. Showing up, walking with a weight vest every single day, holding herself accountable. She lost a ton of weight. And she got in great shape, not just physically, but also mentally, because that time that she was walking with her husband and they would have conversations. And if she was walking by herself, she would probably listen to a book or a podcast or just let her mind go. You grow when you do that, right? So she grew, well, technically she got smaller physically, but she grew mentally, right? And along the way, she just shared her journey. But eventually she realized that there were things that she was doing every day that created a consistent habit that also created a shift, a change, a goal that she hit. And so what she did was she just wrote down everything that she was doing and then she sold it as a guide and I think she calls it Howdy Fitness. Hello. I know what you're thinking. Tons of people lose weight every year. Sure. Right? But it was her taking you on her journey, which looks different from everybody else's journey. Maybe people related to her because she had a lot of kids. Maybe people related to her because she did it with her husband. Maybe people related to her because she also included food. I don't know the reason people related to her, but you need to know that she was an everyday person just showing up and keeping herself accountable and taking people on the journey. And now she sells this guide called Howdy Fitness and she sells it every single day, multiple times a day. And she has created a multi-million-dollar business since 2023. Okay? So don't overthink this. In fact, it might even be something that you want to do for yourself and will end up becoming the thing that you sell. Better finances, cool. Walk people through the steps that you're taking to get there. You don't have to share personal details. You don't have to share your bank account. You don't have to share things that you wouldn't want other people to know, right? And you don't necessarily have to monetize it immediately. But I'll tell you what, most of you already have the product already. Does that like make you feel better? You already have the product. Yay! I see Lori, she's dancing. Okay, you already have it. Okay, here's question 2. What do people already come to you for? This one might take a little bit of thinking. If you don't know the answer to this, greatest thing to do is you can ask a friend or a spouse. Like, what do people come to me? What am I naturally good at? What do people come to me for? What kind of questions do people ask me over and over? What do friends text you about? What do people say, oh my gosh, how did you do that? Right? It's something maybe you think is like mindless and you do it every day, and people are like, wait, how do you do that? What's the thing that you explain over and over and over without even having to think about it? Right there, that is a demand signal. Okay. It's a demand signal. It means that there are people asking for this, and you have the answer. You've just been ignoring it because it's easy for you. Write it down. Okay, so that's question number 2. Question number 3. What would someone gladly pay to skip the struggle? What would someone gladly pay to skip the struggle? And I want you to think about what you've lived and what people ask you for. Where's the painful part, right? Where's the lonely thing that you've already figured out? Because the parts of that are hard, and people will happily pay for convenience or to skip steps or for shortcuts. How many of you have paid for a shortcut? Hello, who's ever bought a Cliff Notes version of a book that you were supposed to read in high school, but you didn't read the book and you bought the Cliff Notes version? You literally paid for a shortcut. You probably bought the book. Okay, so you paid money for the book, didn't read it, and then bought the Cliff Notes. Hi. We've probably all done that in some way, shape, or form for something. People will pay for convenience. How much money do people spend on going out to eat because it's convenient, right? That's how I got here, friends. That's how I got here. That's how I created this business. And it's made a multiple six-figure business a year, year after year since 2023, all because I have struggled with something for 7 years, aka I was trying to figure out how to grow and make sales online and failing for 7 years. And then I finally figured out the right way to do it. And it's what led to this business because I wrote down the steps and then I turned around and I teach other people how to do that, right? So now I teach people how to do the steps that I took to get to where I am. Does that make sense? A lot of times it's right freaking in front of you. And you've just been overlooking it or overthinking it because you think, well, people have already done this. People know how to do it. Other people teach this. I'm not qualified. I'm not an expert, right? And I need you to hear this loud and clear, ears on, because it's the thing that stops most of you cold. Just because someone is talking about or has already talked about your topic or is selling something in that space or showing up doing quote unquote the same thing that you wrote down in one of those questions, it does not mean that there is no room for you. Okay. It actually means quite the opposite. It means that there is a proven paying audience already there, AKA we call that demand. Okay. This is someone walking in and turning the lights on for you. Thank you. Right? Here's why. Information's free. Literally everywhere. We have ChatGPT these days. We have all the AI systems we could possibly want. If you need to know, what did I ChatGPT the other day? Oh, how to take apart a treadmill. I need to move a treadmill from my garage into another part of my house, and it wasn't going to fit through the doorway. And I looked at the treadmill and I was like, this is not obvious to me. And I ChatGPT, I said, here's the name version of my treadmill. Can you give me a step by step on taking this thing apart so I can move it through the doorway? I ChatGPT'd that shit. Information's everywhere, right? You want to learn how to crochet? Cool. There's a million free tutorials, a million blog posts, a million YouTube videos. Nobody has to pay a dime to learn the stitches. And yet, the tired mom who shows up and says, you know what? I taught myself to crochet my kid's entire wardrobe in 15 minutes a day while the baby naps, and I'll show you how. She builds an audience. She sells out her little crochet guide. People follow her. They buy from her. They wait for her next post. Why? They're not buying the crochet stitches. They can get that anywhere. They can chat GPT that shit. The crochet part was not the secret. The information was always free. They bought her angle. They bought her relatability. They bought the fact that she's a wiped out mom just like her people. And she was proving that it was possible in like the crazy mom cracks of life, right? That's the whole game, guys. That's the whole game. They're not paying you for information. You do not have to invent something new, talk about something that no one's ever talked about before. They're literally paying for the person who makes them believe that they too can do it. And there's only one of you. Yay, thank goodness. Same topic, completely different human, completely different story. You are not competing because there is only one of you. Let me say that again. You are not competing because there was only one of you. I'm giving you a crazy example. I don't know anything about crocheting. My daughter picked it up one day and now she crochets things. I literally don't even know how to do my first stitch, right? But if we look at my student Benjamin, for example, there's a million free recipes online. Every time I want to make a recipe, what do? I'm like, easy pizza dough recipe. I go to Google, right? Nobody needs to pay to learn those recipes or to use those recipes. So how is it that Benjamin sells out his membership every single month? Well, because they're not just buying recipes, they're buying the guy who gets that they can't cook, hate their own food, and they want to save money. Same free information, but they bought him and the way that he teaches because they like his personality and he's relatable and he has kids and they have kids, right? Like the connection points. So I want you to look at those three answers. If you wrote them all down and if you come back to them later, that's fine too. But just like start to think about them because they overlap. Here's where they overlap, where what you've lived meets what people ask you for meets what they'd pay to skip. That's your thing. Does that make sense? So where you lived or what you've lived through meets what people constantly ask you for, how to do it, what that looks like, the process, etc., and what they'd pay to skip steps or for a shortcut. Yeah? That's your thing. That's the idea. That's what you came here for, and now you have it. Yay! It is not out there somewhere. It is not in some popular niche like health, wealth, fitness, finance, or travel. It could be, but that's not what you lead with. It is literally right there on the paper if you did the work. And it's been in your hands the entire time. That will either make you feel really, really good or like, oh shit, I should have taken action a long time ago. It doesn't matter. You are where you are. You could take action now, right? So I want you to feel what just happened because 20 minutes ago, a lot of you walked in here sure that you had nothing, nothing. You were starting from zero, but you never were. That's the thing. Drop a something in the chat if you're like, oh my gosh, I have my idea. Thank goodness, right? Or something came to me, or some sort of insight came to you here. Holly says, yay. Nanette says, Cliff Notes every time. Now that kids have freaking ChatGPT, like, hey, chat, tell me the synopsis of, oh my gosh, what was a book that we read? The Great Gatsby. I don't remember reading that book because I probably never did, but I'm pretty sure I was supposed to. Okay. Ideas. Amazing. So I want you to hold on to that feeling because it's literally like the sound of the door cracking open. But I would be doing you a disservice if I let you leave on a high without telling you the truth about what happens next. Because I've watched this exact moment play out time and time and time and time again. You're going to log off today lit up. And for about 3 days, you're going to feel unstoppable. Yes. And then life gets loud, you get overwhelmed, the kids, the job, the laundry, the noise, the cooking dinner. Oh my gosh, it's always cooking dinner. I'm always cooking dinner. And then that doubt starts to creep back in. Wait, is this actually good? Who am I to do this? How am I going to make this pop off? Right? Well, nobody's watching yet. I don't have an audience. Who's going to care? Am I going to actually make it? I'm just a loser with zero audience. Trust me, I'm telling you these things because I've had all these same thoughts. I've heard it all. I've lived it all. I get it. What I've experienced and what I know is that without anyone in your corner to tell you that you're on the right track to help keep you accountable, that idea usually slides back into the someday folder. And someday, as you know, is never coming. It's gone. It might as well be gone. Yeah. So that is not a you problem. I can promise you, you can be successful. You can do this. I know that for sure if you have the work ethic, right? If you decide to go all in. It's just the problem that presents itself, and it presents itself time and time again. And even with the people who are the most successful, it still happens. It's the exact reason why most people never make it past the idea. Who has a notebook or a section in their phone with business ideas or ideas in general? Kathy's like me. Yeah, I seen Annette. Yeah. Like I have a literal note in my phone, like notepad thing that says like business ideas. It's years old. There's thousands of them in there. I haven't always acted on all of them, but I have acted on some of them, so I'll do that, right? But the reason why those things don't come to fruition is not because you weren't smart enough or you weren't capable enough. It's because knowing what to do and actually doing it consistently with someone who can see what you can't are two completely different games. Yeah. So seeing your idea and building your idea are not the same thing. And I don't want you, this is my core reason for being here. I don't want to see another brilliant woman with a brilliant idea and no one in her corner go slide into the someday category. Okay. And I'll tell you that and the reason why I show up and I teach and I do these things over and over is for that woman, right? So I'm going to tell you about one thing that I built exactly for this woman, this moment. Most of you, some of you here have probably heard of it. It's called Pop Lock and Profit Accelerator because I got tired of seeing brilliant women hide their genius and not, when you know that meme that says like when the group chat finally makes it to the vacation, or like when the group chat finally makes it to an in-person event, that's like this. Like you can write down all your business ideas all day long, but I want to see it come out of the app, come out of your phone and into paper. So this is why I created Pop Lock and Profit the Accelerator. And if anyone who is here inside of PLP Accelerator, like feel free to chime in the chat. I know you will because you guys are lovely. But it exists for this one reason, to take the woman who just found her idea, that's you, 10 minutes ago, and put a real mentor in her corner until she has an actual product, an actual funnel, and actual paying customers. Not a someday product to sell, a real freaking income producing product. That is my goal with showing up every single day. But let me be super clear about what it isn't. It is not another course that you just buy and it sits and collects dust. I didn't want that for people. I didn't want people to feel excited for a week and then let it go with the other 17 courses that you didn't finish, right? Because we both know that graveyard and I am not interested in adding to it. Mine's full. Okay. This is built around being left alone. Sorry, the opposite of being left alone. Every single week, we get on a live small group coaching call, and I take a look at your actual ideas or offer or wherever you are, your content, your marketing, your messaging. And I tell you in real time what's working, what's not working, and what to do next. I wanted to do that so that there is no guessing. Because we all know how it feels to consume and then be like, okay, but is this the right way to do that? Like I read it, but also how do I do it, right? I wanted to get rid of that question. No guessing, no posting into the void and hoping. I didn't want you to read the label from inside the jar, if that makes sense, right? So that's what you're getting. And I've already kind of told you about some of my students who are freaking killing it from Pop Lock and Profit. Okay, Benjamin. By the way, he was out of a job when I first met him, and he struggled for a year. And then we implemented the PLP framework, and he took off with his cooking membership. The guy supports his family with it. Can we just pause for a moment because that's huge? He supports his family with his online gig, the thing that he created out of literally thin air. It's freaking wild. And I want to tell you like just a little short note about Benjamin because this is what makes me wake up every day excited to do what I do. I met him in person for the first time last year at a mastermind that I held in October. And he pulled me aside. He was like, Gwen, I just want to show you something. And I'm like, oh God, what are you going to show me? Like, I don't know why I thought it was going to be bad. So he opens up his phone and he pressed play. And it was a voice note that I sent him before he really grew, before he knew his potential. I was just telling him that I was proud of him and that I knew that he had it in him. And I reminded him of why. And he saved that freaking voice note. And he says that he listens to it every now and again when doubt maybe creeps back in. Because you guys, it does sometimes, right? And having someone in your corner to remind you of your power is honestly priceless. Instant tears. I was like, what do you mean you saved my voice note and you listen to it all the time? So that's why I wake up every day and do what I do, okay? Because I want your success. For those of you who are here who are detail oriented, let me tell you about what's inside. So you can check those boxes, right? And I will also pop the link in so that you guys, if you want to read about it, I will put it in the chat thread there. Okay. So let me give you a list of what's inside for my detailed people. Weekly live coaching calls, and this is the heartbeat of PLP Accelerator. This is the accountability and the real-time feedback that 99% of people are missing out there. And the reason why they, shelf an idea. Then we have weekly income strategy prompts. So you always know, exactly what to do in that week to make income. Instead of drowning in like 100 tabs, right? What can you do this week to make money? That's the goal. And I will tell you right off the bat, like if you're doubting yourself, you don't need to have a whole bunch of followers already. Did you know all it takes for you to make a sale is one aligned follower? One person. That's it. Okay. Okay. So weekly life coaching calls, weekly income strategy prompts, my proven frameworks, literally handed to you so that you're not guessing your way through what to do. You get the full self-led course. So of course you have my Pop Lock and Profit material that while we're not on the calls, you can start going through and being like, okay, check, I did this step. This is the next step. This is the next step. So it's literally set up for you in phases so that you know what to do phase 1 through phase 6. There's not a lot in there. I just like to have little chunks of info rather than like big chunks of info. That's how my brain works. Then you get implementation templates because I don't want you just to know what to do. I literally want you just to do it. So I make it very easy for you to just do it. So if you want to do a webinar or a presentation, here's your slides, right? If you want to do a speaking video, here's the template, okay? Also, the private community. This is a bunch of people doing it right alongside with you. And when we went on the call this past week, I always open up the call with like, what are you grateful for? Give me one thing. And 5 people were like, I'm grateful for this community. I'm grateful for so and so who helped me with this thing. I'm grateful for this other person in the community who helped me. So don't overlook having people who are running alongside you. I think it makes a huge difference. Okay. And then, of course, you get replays of everything. So we just had a member join last week who was like, I can't always make the live calls. Am I still going to benefit from this? Yes, 100%. The replays are available and they're labeled by topic. So if we talked about messaging and you're like, oh, you know what? I'm not at messaging yet. Like, I'm not going to watch that one. Fine. Bookmark it, watch it later. Right? But you get replays of everything. You can't miss a beat. And of course, I threw in a few bonuses because I can't help myself. You're going to get my audience growth system. You have my offer clarity resources so that you can lock into the idea that you found today. And then you also get private identity audio trainings. That's a mouthful. Because so much about what we do is becoming the person who is successful first. And most don't know how to do that or what that means. And this was a huge part of my success. And anyone who's been in my community who has succeeded has done this first. Okay. Now, I also want to preface this with saying that this probably isn't for everyone, and that's okay. But it is for the person who's done waiting, who refuses to let today's idea become a someday, who's willing to show up and let someone guide her. But of course, if you want to keep collecting courses and never implementing, this probably wouldn't be it for you. And that's okay. Okay. But if you're ready to actually build the thing with someone who won't let you quit on yourself, hi, that's me. Okay. Now let's talk about what it costs. But first, I want you to think about what staying exactly where you are has already cost you, right? For me, it was like, holy crap, another year of a salary that someone else gets to decide how much I make or don't make. Another year of me asking for my 2-week vacation, right? Another year of me getting permission to go to the bathroom. Like I just was done. So what is that costing you? Another year of watching other people, no smarter than you, go build the life that you keep putting off when tomorrow isn't a guarantee. I don't know if you can put a price on that, but people spend $80,000 and 4 years on a degree that they never use. You're not doing that here, okay? So this entire accelerator is 6 months of live mentorship with me in your corner every single week, and it's $1,997. Or if you break that down, it's $5.50 a day. $5.50 a day. I do also have payment plans. So you could do 3 payments of $797, or 6 payments of $397. Okay, whatever suits your fancy. And actually, for a limited time, I'm adding 6 additional months onto your mentorship. So you pay for 6 months, you get 6 months free. That's a whole 12 months. $5.50 a day. Now, I know exactly what just happened in your head, so let me answer these 3 things that you're probably thinking. I'm too old, it's too late. We just spent the whole last 40 minutes talking about this. You're not too late. There is no such thing. You're right on time. And the lived experience that makes you feel behind is the exact thing that makes people buy from you. Can I say that again? The lived experience, so the things that you've been through that are making you feel quote unquote behind, is actually the exact thing that make people buy from you. Okay. Objection number 2 is probably, I'm not techie or I'll get lost. I get it. You don't need to be techie to do this. I literally hand you templates. I walk you through it on the calls. If you can send an email and you can hop on a Zoom call, which you just did, then you can do this. Okay. What if it's, I can't justify the money? I hear you, and I want to gently flip it because the reason that that number feels scary is the exact reason that you're here, right? Someone else has decided your worth for too long. And this gets to be the first time that you decide what your worth is. The women who say, I can't afford it, I get it. I was there. I still invested because I made it happen. If you don't know me, I am like, if I want something, I don't stop until I get it. I don't know if that's you, but like, if I want that mentorship, I'm going to figure out how to get it, right? The women who say they can't afford it usually can't afford to stay where they are either. So it's this, oh, whenever I do this, my kids will be like, Mom, 6'7". But it's a balancing act, right? I know the people on this call who have kids get what I just said. Okay. So here's what to do right now. Ready? While we're together. I dropped the link in the chat. If you didn't see it, let me see if I can scrub it there again, just so it's not at the bottom of the chat feed. Okay. And I saw Daniel, when you click on the link, is it Danielle? It's Danielle. When you click on the link, the payment plan will be on there. And so you can just select which payment plan you want to do. Here's the link. Grab your spot if it feels like we're aligned. Now, this is a small group on purpose because I am personally on those calls and I am taking your personal questions and going through your personal stuff person by person, right? So there are only 10 new spots right now. When they're gone, they're gone. Plus, I'm giving you Girl Math for free today. Girl Math is almost 200 pages of the exact content strategy that I followed and created to go from 0 followers to 261,000 followers. Okay. And it's not just followers because followers really don't mean anything, but it's like, how do you get aligned followers and have them buy from you? Because those followers are what helped me create this multiple 6-figure business. Right. So Girl Math comes for free when you join Pop Lock and Profit Accelerator today. Okay. The clarity that you have right now is the most valuable thing in the room, and I want you to use it. I want you to ask questions. So if you're here, you've been here, you've got questions, I'm going to scroll up to the chat and we can go through them. But don't be shy because the thing that you're afraid to ask is probably the same thing that 5 other women are sitting there wondering. Okay. So let me just see if you guys have questions in the chat. Kathy says, good sting, keep collecting courses. Truth though, isn't it? Holly, oh, Holly says you've been a wonderful mentor, Gwen. Thank you, Holly. I've known Holly for a long time. Um, do, 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 do. Oh, Lori says if you're here and know me, it's the main item I promote in my own business. Yeah, Lori is like, she is the driving force behind Pop Lock and Profit Accelerator. She's in there, she's winning with it. She has created so much success inside that community. It's just amazing to watch you, friend. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. Okay, questions, other questions. I don't think I see any more as I scroll up. Let me know if I missed your question. Lexi says, you were the one that allowed me to see that becoming confident in sobriety was my thing. Yes, girl. Yes. And good Lord, Lexi, like, thank goodness for that because how many other women need to see you being confident in sobriety? Right? How many other women need to see that? Yeah. Okay, so just in case anyone who watches this replay doesn't get to ask their question, questions that might come up. Um, Gwen, what if I don't have my idea fully nailed down yet? Perfect. That's literally what the first weeks inside of Pop Lock and Profit are for. What if you can't make every call? We already talked about that, right? They're all recorded. You bring your questions ahead of time. You can post in the community. You can say, tag me, Gwen, I can't be on the call. Here's my question. Gwen, I can't be on the call. Here's what I'm working on. Can you review it on the call? Right? If you message me on school, which everyone inside the community is inside of school, if you message me on school and I think that your question will help the group, I will answer you, but I'll also share it with the group so that we can all benefit from it, right? What if I failed at this before? Hi, 7 years of failure. 7 years of failure doesn't mean that you are destined to fail forever. Now, thank goodness I failed for 7 years because now I can help you not fail for 7 years. It means I get to give you the shortcut. I get to give you the don't go that way, it's a dead end, right? You're exactly who this works the best for because you already know the information. And information alone wasn't the missing piece. Support probably was. Okay. Any other questions? Danielle's in. She said, I purchased and I'm so excited. I also have Real Saloon. Oh, Real Saloon is so good. And I sat on it for so long. So it's great that Gina is your mentor. I'm feeling inspired. Thank you. This is great Zoom. I am so glad that you are in. I will connect with you. I'm so excited for you. Oh my gosh, you're gonna love the community. Holly says, thank you, Gwen. This never gets old. So good. Love you, Holly. Thank you so much. Okay, let me leave you with this last little note. I started with $2.80 in my account and a boss who was deciding my worth. And the only thing that changed everything was the day that I stopped waiting to feel ready and I let myself be guided by someone who had already walked the path that I wanted to walk. That's all this is. That's what I'm offering for you. So you found your idea today. The door is wide open for you. The only question left is whether you walk through it alone and you hope, or whether you let me walk with you until you're standing on the other side. I hope you grab your spot or reach out to me, ask me questions. Let's build this thing together, and I will see you guys on the inside. Okay. I love you so much. Thank you for being here. I will catch you later and send out the replay. Okay. Bye.